KREM 2 News begins now.
Thank you for joining us on KREM 2 Plus. I'm Tim Pham. This is your KREM 2 News Week in Review. Join us as we take a closer look at some of the biggest stories in the Inland Northwest this past week.
Not even 1 month ago, I stood right here talking about vandalism to the Rainbow Crosswalk outside the Odyssey Youth Center. Today, you can still see some of that vandalism under new vandalism. Over the weekend, Odyssey reports it was vandalized 3 nights in a row, and it isn't taking those incidents lightly. It's another day of responding to targeted vandalism for the Odyssey Youth Movement Center.
These folks are determined to break us down, to make us feel as though we don't belong here.
3 days in a row, the center woke up to paint smeared over the Rainbow Crosswalk and signs, and hate speech spray painted on the window and door. Odyssey Executive Director Ian Sullivan says the continued vandalism is disappointing, but he says it won't erase the LGBTQ community in Spokane or in the Perry District.
It's that mix of the immediate heart sink, but knowing that our people are here for us and we belong in this community.
Making sure the people at the center know they're appreciated is neighbor Theora Rice. She lives on Perry Street and feels for the young queer people at the center of these incidents.
This is a place where kids get support. I had more than a few friends who got very needed support and outreach and connection through that organization.
She says she doesn't understand why the center is being attacked now, when it's been a presence in the Perry District for nearly 20 years.
It feels like either somebody went out of their way to come over here to make a statement because it's getting more support and because the Perry District is becoming just a more supportive community as a whole, and potentially seen as a more privileged community as well. Or it means that there have been elements that have been living here for years who are now unhappy.
She hopes kids and teens don't internalize the vandalism.
This isn't something that you have to absorb. It's something that we have to watch out for, of course. We always have to be situationally aware.
As an adult in the LGBTQ community, she says she'll continue to make sure young people feel they belong in Spokane. She says she knows the center's leaders will do the same. This event was a celebration in the face of recent graffiti and vandalism at the Odyssey Youth Movement Center. Cars were honking, music was playing, and a group of people showed out to make it known that not even paint can cover their pride or erase their place in the community. The Perry District is covered in colorful support for the Odyssey Youth Movement Center. Rainbow signs and flags are reminders to people in the LGBTQ community they have a place in Spokane. Odyssey Executive Director Ian Sullivan says inclusion and community are at the heart of Thursday's pop-up Pride event.
You can see the joy that's here, the representation that's here, the excitement to be part of community and a truly inclusive community as well.
The pop-up comes after the center experienced vandalism 3 nights in a row. Paint was used to write hate speech on walls and cover the Rainbow Crosswalk. But walk through the district now and all vandalism has been scrubbed clean. Some say it's a direct sign of perseverance.
Every time they want to decide to make a decision like that, we're going to make 10 times more decisions to keep showing up and let them know that we are queer, we are here, we are not going nowhere. We're staying. This is our home too.
Before the pop-up, the city of Spokane organized a walk from the Perry District to the downtown Pride mural. That mural was also vandalized in the last week.
Our hearts are hurting, so we want to walk it out.
City officials say the walk shows hate doesn't have a place in Spokane. A message people in the LGBTQ community hope their young people know and hear.
We need to let them know, they need to feel in this community that they are loved, they are welcomed, and they are part of Spokane.
And while the fun has come to a close, this event was also to show that Odyssey Youth Movement Center is and will be an available resource in the community. From the Perry District, Janelle Finch, KREM 2 News. Rabbi Dr. Elizabeth Goldstein tells me the Jewish community at Gonzaga is a small one, but now more than ever, that community is leaning on one another as they watch attacks on their people half a world away. Rabbi Dr. Elizabeth Goldstein says every Jewish person has a connection to Israel, even those who have never been.
We all have our own experiences of how Israel plays a part in our sort of spiritual and religious identity.
That's what makes the Hamas attack on Israel and Jewish people so personal. Goldstein says the unnecessary terror leads to more pain than progress.
None of this is going to bring anybody closer to a peace. It's only going to just create more war and more sadness. And there's just going to be a lot of loss of Jewish and Arab life because of this. And it's just, It's just tragic.
She says conflict in the Middle East isn't new. She explains there's history between Hamas and Jewish people, and Hamas and Palestinians can't be assumed to share ideals.
There's different ways of talking about like Palestinians, and some people say the word Palestine and they mean all of where Israel is today, and that's how Hamas thinks about it. So they just think that like the whole land should be theirs, and so they can just do whatever they want.
Still, she hopes injustice won't prevail. With all the sadness she feels, she says she also feels resilient and strong.
There's going to be Jews in Israel. It's not going to deter that, and so like if that's the point, like it's not going to work.
She says she's praying for fewer lives to be lost as violence continues. Rabbi Goldstein says the attack came at a time when Jewish holy days were coming to an end. She says what should have been a weekend of celebration quickly turned into a weekend of mourning. In the studio, Janelle Finch, KREM 2 News.
Jenna Ray's daughter, Brianna, has lived in Israel for 2.5 years now, even spending time there as a high school student. So they've both experienced the sometimes violent tensions there, but say this time is different. A mother's love knows no distance, no time zone.
We don't know how long we'll be able to communicate before, if
It's why Jenna Ray
internet goes down.
logs in every chance she gets.
Oh, multiple times a day. Yeah, multiple times a day.
At all hours of cross-continental days.
What time is it over there?
From Spokane
It is
to her daughter Brianna
Yeah.
in central Israel. Brianna and her partner Daniel live an hour's drive north of where ground attacks are happening.
We can see the rockets, we can hear the rockets.
everybody at some point has had to go into their bomb shelters, respectively, including us.
Daniel, a former Israeli soldier, is donating supplies to fighters, though just venturing outside takes bravery.
A lot of police, a lot of army. Usually when you travel, it's better to travel armed.
Most are sheltering at home.
So even though we're physically more safe where we're at right now, there's not a single person that is emotionally okay in the slightest.
An emotional toll.
Just watching Brianna over the past few days, she's just sad because she doesn't know what to do.
Shared across thousands of miles.
And imagine me sitting here. I can do nothing. We can't extract her. The airport is closed. No one can buy any tickets. I mean, I'd bring both Daniel and Bri home in a minute if we could.
Now, another level of uncertainty for the couple is that Daniel is in the Army Reserve, so he is just waiting to be possibly called up to fight. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
"24 people were forced out during the closure of the apartments on Wall Street last month. Some are still finding permanent places to live, and I had the chance to speak with one of those people today.
I was shocked that I had to move out in such a short period of time.
Thomas Allen only lived in the apartments on Wall Street for less than a month until he got
Do not occupy notice. Gives us 1 week to move out.
Thomas was just getting settled.
I'm back in the same situation where I'm at a buddy's place on his couch.
The city says the building was closed because the city deemed it unsafe to live in.
It got to a point where it was unsafe and unhealthy for people to live there, which is what the Do Not Occupy order did.
Brian Coddington from the city of Spokane says they didn't want to get to that point.
The city's been involved with the property owner for more than a year, working with him to make improvements to the substandard conditions at the building.
But Thomas says the building's owner did try to make things better.
He has done everything he can to try and meet the demands of the city.
When the city closed down the building, it worked with SNAP, Spokane Neighborhood Action Partners, to relocate the apartment residents.
Staff's been great. They stepped up. They not only provided the funding for it, they also provided assistance with those individual tenants.
Former residents got $2,000. Thomas says it wasn't enough.
To find a place that's under $1,000 is really hard.
He says he searches for more than a dozen new places to live each day.
Finding the place actually is what's a hard thing. If you're on disability, low income, you're not going to meet income requirements.
For now, Thomas will continue staying with a friend. He hopes to find a job and get back on his feet soon.
The city tells me that there's no timeline for when the building might open. For now, do not enter signs are still posted. In the newsroom, Nathan Hyun, KREM 2 News.
These threats scared a lot of parents last month. Some students stayed home from school. Court docs show how police were able to trace the threat and what the 14-year-old suspect had to say when they showed up to his mother's house.
On the night of September 28th, Spokane police started getting calls reporting a threat to several middle and high schools in District 81. The online threat warned students to stay home the next day, saying a group would bring guns, knives, and weapons of destruction to every school in Spokane they could get to. Spokane police began investigating around 8:30 that night and were knocking at the suspect's door just 4 hours later. Court documents say SPD detectives were contacted by the FBI. A social media company had reported the threat and provided authorities a username and associated email account. Police were then able to identify an IP address, which led them to a home near the Northtown Mall. Police spoke with a 14-year-old boy who said he was aware of the threat but denied creating it. The boy's mom then gave police her son's phone and tablet. During a follow-up interview the next morning, the boy told police, quote, "I did it as a joke. I did it to scam my friends." Court docs say the boy posted the names of schools in Spokane he was familiar with, but again told police it was all part of a joke he was trying to play. By 6 a.m. the following morning, Spokane Public Schools sent a message to parents letting them know Spokane police confirmed the threat is not credible.
Now, KREM 2 is not naming the student since he is a juvenile. Even though court documents say he admitted to creating the threat, police tell us they are continuing to actively investigate this case, and so far, that 14-year-old has not been arrested. In the studio, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
Tonight, in a 5-2 vote, City Council members formally opposed Measure 1, Spokane County's plan to fund a new jail and law and justice center.
I can't support a jail when we have information that is very vague. It feels like it's an open check to the Spokane County and absolutely no plan. There's no plan. We've asked for specifics.
The 0.2% sales tax increase would generate an estimated $1.7 billion over the next 30 years. Residents and visitors would pay an additional 2 cents in taxes on every $10 spent within the county.
We have a more detailed plan for parks than we do for this jail.
To say that there isn't a plan is factually incorrect because there is a plan. Is it down to how every penny is going to be spent? No, because as we're saying, $1.7 billion is a lot of money. You cannot account for every one of those pennies as it's coming in.
At the end of the day, the voters are going to have their say. They're going to weigh all the information. They're going to read and listen to what everybody says, and they're the ones that will make this decision. It doesn't really matter what this council does tonight.
This mariachi band behind me is only one of a few in the region. They've been in existence at Eastern Washington University for 10 years. Eastern Washington University.
I love hearing you play. You're going to do great.
A public school campus with a secret.
All right, are you ready? So let's try Tomatistas.
Walk inside, and the closer you get, the clearer the melody.
Te llevo de la mano, corazón. Let's hear you telling the story of the song, really feeling the passion of it.
That's Dr. Sheila Woodward.
I understand the importance of being able to bring your culture and celebrate that.
She's the founder of the school's mariachi band.
We wanted our Hispanic and Latinx students to feel that they belong, that they have a place here at Eastern.
A secret being revealed in more than 25 yearly performances. Students like Catherine Ayerdes.
I'm just getting out of my comfort zone and I just love it. I fell in love with it.
Already, she's plucking away at the hearts of her heritage.
I'm not Mexican, I'm Nicaraguan, but they accepted me, they adopted me as in the group of the mariachi.
Like others in the band, she wears the logo on her back proudly.
No matter where you're from, no matter what language you speak, music is just a universal language.
Music that dates back to the late 1700s.
It's very symbolic Mexican traditional music from the state of Jalisco.
Martin Garcia, professor of Chicano Studies at Eastern Washington University, isn't surprised by mariachi's rise.
Music is very powerful. Music moves people.
When Garcia started teaching at EWU 16 years ago, 3% of students were Hispanic. Now, nearly 20%.
This was, again, a home away from home. Hence, students gravitated towards the center.
Other band members, like Jonathan Arguello, have been in the band since stepping on campus.
I would say that did have a big influence on me coming to Eastern.
Playing keeps him connected with his culture.
It shows a lot of the heritage. It gives people chances to connect with the music, even if they're just singing along with it.
EWU's mariachi band impacts more than its members.
Express, show your joy as you sing. And we've seen more and more Hispanic students, and that's our goal, to keep increasing that percentage of students.
Did you expect to be here 10 years ago?
I didn't, and I'm very thrilled that we've managed to keep the momentum going.
So on EWU's campus, come a little closer, and you might just hear the melody of mariachi.
Bravo.
This is probably the worst part of the school, the upper gym.
Central Valley students Rebecca and Haley showed us around their old stomping grounds, Bowdish Middle School.
Constantly bugs in here. Always bugs, or mice, or anything.
A building sometimes bullied by junior high students.
There's a Crocs incident where students would throw Crocs at the ceiling and then ceiling tiles would collapse.
Built in the late 50s, Bowdish was last renovated in the late 90s. It's one of several outdated schools in Central Valley.
We are here to listen to you.
The district wants to know what schools and projects should be prioritized as board members consider putting a capital levy on the February ballot.
We want to hear from our parents, but we want to hear from our community too, because they are the taxpayers and they are what funds our schools in our area, which benefits our future workforce, our students.
The levy could pay for safety upgrades, new HVAC systems.
In the summer/spring, it's always warm in here, and then in the winter, it's freezing.
Haley and Rebecca think schools like Bowdish could also use a new roof.
You'll see buckets all over the classroom trying to collect this water.
Older schools also have accessibility issues. It can be a challenge getting up these hallways in a wheelchair.
ADA requirements really that are unable to be met because this building was built prior to those being in place.
There's a lot to consider in the district's long-range improvement plan. The Central Valley community is invited to take part in a survey to share their priorities. We'll have a link to it in this story on our website.
Bowdish, where we are right now, is on my side of the district where I grew up as a kid. So these are buildings my friends went to, and it's probably time for us to make an investment in some of these structures.
In Spokane Valley, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
Airway Heights is growing, and so is the need for bigger and better city facilities. And this 39,000 square foot building will eventually hold the fire department, police station, and city hall.
I was extremely happy.
Karen Inman has lived in Airway Heights a long time.
50 years, 51 years.
She was one of the dozens of people that turned out for a ribbon-cutting event for Airway Heights' new public safety campus.
To be able to come together so they can collaborate is just huge. This space is beautiful, and it's just room to grow.
The new public safety campus is empty for now, but in just under 2 years, it will hold the entire fire and police departments as well as a city hall.
We're hoping to be able to add more staffing and have more people to be able to do the work with.
Mitch Metzger is the Airway Heights fire chief. He says this new campus will be a major step up from their current facility.
The original building was built in 1968. It's been remodeled 10 times. It doesn't have adequate areas for decontamination of our equipment.
The $8 million new facility was made possible thanks to a bond passed by Airway Heights voters in August. But the new space is needed more than just to replace some old buildings.
In the last 10 years, our population has increased almost double.
From 6,000 to now 12,000 people living in Airway Heights.
Even though we're a small community, we need a lot out here.
Mayor Larry Bowman says a centralized space is just what the city needs.
We want to bring all of our city services together in one building and have a one-stop shop for the entire community, and this is it.
As for Karen, she hopes the city can keep reaching for the heights.
It's just enormous to me to see this, that we can expand and become a bigger city.
This building is expected to be completed in the spring of 2025. In Airway Heights, Nathan Khan, KREM 2 News.
That program is right here in East Central, and the founder and CEO of this program tells me the goal is to reach kids where they are.
Let's see if this works.
A moment in this room can easily turn into a world where time sits still.
It's relaxing.
There's no outside noise here. In fact, the instrumentals vibrating out of the speakers can actually be considered a form of peace.
I've been doing music since I was a teenager.
Deacon Jones discovered early in his life that a room such as this is an oasis.
That's how I ended up doing this program. I would start writing out some of the things that would happen to me during the day or whatever happened, just to kind of express myself.
That program he's talking about is New Developed Nations. It's the breathing form of experience and research that he's culminated over the years.
I'm Black and Indigenous. I'm a Nez Perce tribal member, born and raised in Lapwai, Idaho. And hip hop was something that I grew up with.
For Deacon, hip hop is way more than a form of storytelling. It's a means to get out words that would otherwise feel trapped inside.
We see things in one session that we might not hear in traditional talk therapy for 30, 60, 90 days.
Deacon is a certified and licensed therapist, merging two things he's passionate about: music and mental health.
You don't have to be able to sing, you don't have to train. You can come in, you can just tell your life story, and we can help you write that out into a song.
The program he's created now has a home in the East Central neighborhood of Spokane, a location handpicked with intention.
We're building skills for leadership.
With the staff fully trained to handle anything from trauma to addiction, NDN specializes in working with at-risk youth. Using the music puts them in a position to understand, empower, and reach each client with a positive approach.
We call them artists. We like to change the language and have a humanistic person-first program.
Because he knows just how therapeutic music can be, Deacon believes sharing the knowledge he's gained can change lives. So now, each time he walks into a studio, it's like walking into his purpose.
It's become one of the most fulfilling things that I've ever done in my life, yeah.
And yeah, you can see this mural right behind me. It catches your attention, and Deacon tells me that's exactly why he placed it on the side of their building, because ultimately he wants to go ahead and start a conversation. You don't have to know who the artists are that are painted here, but it invites you in to talk about that. It invites people in the community to go in, talk about what they're doing here in this neighborhood and around Spokane, and ultimately let them know that they're here to listen and they're here to speak with you as well. But for now, reporting in the East Central neighborhood, Brandon T. Jones, KREM 2 News.
Thank you for joining us here on KREM 2 Plus for a look at some of the biggest news stories of the past week. For the most current news throughout the weekend, you can watch our latest newscast right here on KREM 2 Plus. Just look for them in the bottom navigation menu. I'm Tim Pham. Thanks for watching.